It's 2014 and a ton of great games have been announced for next year recently. Some of them have many people excited, while others you may not have heard of. So here are the 10 games that I'm most excited about for 2015. The only rules are that they have to be coming next year, no fan-made games, and no iOS games or anything like that. There may be some games coming out next year that haven't been announced by the time of the video, so please excuse me if Half-Life 3 or Paper Mario 5 is announced 2 seconds after this is uploaded. So without further ado, let's just start the list. The mighty number 9. I don't have very much to say on this one rather than it looks like Mega Man. A lot like Mega Man. Let's call it a spiritual successor, because that's what it looks like they're going for. I've never really played a Mega Man game, so I'll probably play 1 or 2 before I get mighty number 9 so that I'll know whether I like the genre or not. Apparently the game will start with an intro level, then there'll be 8 stages which you can complete in any order you want, then a final set of stages once you beat all those. Just like Mega Man. Okay, you get the point. Anyways, if you like Mega Man, mighty number 9 will be out for the Wii U, 3DS, PS3, PS4, PlayStation Vita, Xbox 360, Xbox One, and PC. So unless you're some kind of new age retro hipster who only owns an NES, you should pick it up. Oh my god! Ever wanted to make your own Mario level? Well, there are a ton of Flash games that can let you do that, but Nintendo has never made one up until this point, and it looks promising. You can switch the levels between 8-bit or modern style, as well as being able to use many of the typical enemies, backgrounds, platforms, etc. It would also be cool if you could add boss fights at the end of your level, as long as there's somebody other than the Koopalings. I'm getting really sick of those guys. You could make one giant boss rush level, kinda like the True Arena in Kirby. It would also be fun just to make a stage that's almost impossible to beat, and have my brother try to beat it. It's actually pretty funny how such a simple concept has so much you can do with it. I just hope Nintendo doesn't screw it all up and turn into some extremely limited game infested with tons of microtransactions and DLC. Seriously, imagine putting PD Piranha on a bunch of tiny platforms in the middle of the desert or something. That would be awesome. We haven't seen much gameplay footage of it as of yet, but I'm certainly excited. Ratchet & Clank. Now there's a series I need to get into. The only Sony console I own right now is a PS2, and Ratchet & Clank is a Sony exclusive series, so if I want to get the new Ratchet & Clank game coming out next year, I'm gonna need a PS4. And this, as well as another game on the list, is actually convincing me that I should probably get one. Apparently it's supposed to be some kind of reimagining of the original game. So is it a remake, or is it like Link Between Worlds, where it just has a ton of similarities to the original, but it's still its own game? As I said before, I've never played any Ratchet & Clank games, but from what I've heard, it's supposed to be some kind of third-person platforming thingamajig with some RPG elements mixed in. So it already covers my 2 favorite video game genres of all time. This is low on the list because, again, I haven't played a single game in the series as of yet. So I have no idea if I'll love it, or if it'll just be some standard game that doesn't even come close to meeting my extremely high expectations. Like Super Mario RPG. Nah, just kidding. Sort of. There's also supposed to be some Ratchet & Clank movie coming out next year or something, which I know is going to be awesome, because you know how good video game movies usually are. Oh wait, I forgot. Almost all of them are terrible. Oh my god! The shooter genre is one that I'm not particularly fond of. Maybe it's just that I'm a hipster, or maybe I'm not too fond about every single FPS these days as a COD clone. Or, would that make it a GoldenEye clone? Whatever. Okay, there are a few exceptions, but most of them are just Valve games like Portal or Team Fortress 2. Everyone else seems to be making either Call of Duty clones or Halo clones. That's why I'm really excited for the new release of Splatoon for the Wii U next year. Everyone's been asking Nintendo for a new IP, and it looks like they've given us one. Splatoon is a team-based 4v4 third-person shooter, which revolves around shooting paint around the map. Whichever team has covered more of the map with paint by the end of the time limit will be declared the victor. You can also shoot your opponents to send them back to the spawn point, as well as transform into a squid to recharge your ink supply and move faster through ink. People will defend games like Battlefield and GoldenEye Reloaded, which feels more like a COD clone than GoldenEye, saying that they're so generic because there are no more good ideas left. Well, Splatoon disproves that theory, so there's really no excuse. Same goes for Hollywood. There are still good movie ideas that can be made, people are just too lazy to think of any, so they rip off other movies or just make a ton of sequels. You want to know why Nintendo has lasted so long? It's because they actually care. Oh my god! Batman Arkham City and Arkham Asylum are some of the only PS3 or Xbox 360 games that interest me. I still own neither console, but I have certainly thought about it. Those were some of the most critically acclaimed games of the 7th generation, and they certainly look like games I find interesting. The main problem, I don't have a PlayStation 4. Yeah, until I heard about this game, nothing on the PS4 really appealed to me. I can't really blame them for not putting it on the Wii U though, as those types of games don't seem to be selling too well on the console. Oh no, Call of Duty 596 won't be on the Wii U. I wish I cared. Oh wait, no I don't. Gasp, Fallout 4 is only available for the PS4, Xbox One, PC? Okay. Batman Arkham Knight won't be on the Wii U? That's pretty disappointing actually. Action-adventure games are one of my favorite genres, mostly due to Zelda and Metroid, and the Batman games have always fascinated me. I read on Wikipedia, which is a trustworthy source of information, thank you very much, usually, that you can drive around the Batmobile. I don't know why it took 4 installments for that to finally be a gameplay element, but it does sound pretty awesome. Oh, and Two-Face is in it. Hopefully he'll be like he was in the Nolan movies, not Batman Forever. Sure it will. I've seen Power Ranger villains more intimidating. Oh my god! My sincerest apologies. I know it's kind of weird to put a sequel to one of the most obscure Kirby games of all time on this list, especially considering I haven't even played that game, but Kirby and the Rainbow Curse looks promising. I know that many people are disappointed that they announced this rather than a traditional Kirby game like Return to Dreamland, but come on guys, we literally just got Triple Deluxe. I think you can wait another year or two. The main thing preventing a lot of people from buying the Wii U is a lack of games that utilize the gamepad properly. Well, if this one's good, you'll have to look no further. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse uses similar gameplay to that of its predecessor, where Kirby is pretty much a pink ball of fluff that you have to roll around the stage using tracks you draw via the touchscreen and stylus. Making him do loops will increase the speed, and he'll do this cool spin dash thing. Yeah, with that Sonic the Hedgehog! You can also turn into a freaking tank. That might be worth mentioning. And if any of you have doubts about the art style, it's in claymation Wallace and Gromit, more like Wallace and Kirby. I don't even know where I was going with that. Anyways, it may have taken 10 years, but it looks like Canvas Curse is finally getting its own sequel. Oh my god! Do you like Star Wars? Do you like video games? Then LEGO Star Wars is the game for you. And Star Wars Battlefront. I know it's kind of unfair to put it above games like Kirby and the Rainbow Curse and Splatoon, as the only trailer, at least thus far, doesn't show much of the gameplay, but freedom of speech, so shut up. From what little information the trailer does give us though, the developers seem to really care about the work, so I expect this one to be really, really good. There's only one problem though. It's not in the Wii U! You know what? Maybe I should get a PlayStation 4. Sure, it has one of the most annoying fan bases of all time. It can't play PS3 games. It's pretty much the same thing as the other PlayStations, just with better graphics and okay, I'm rambling. I know that the segment has been extremely short, but the trailer reveals nothing of interest other than that it's an action game. So, thanks for that, Disney. Oh my god! I like that it Zelda. Every time a new Nintendo console comes around, the fans have always been excited to see what Zelda game will be released for said console. Sure, we already have a remake of the Wind Waker, and we're about to get this thing, but I think that's about time we got a traditional 3D Zelda game. Zelda U would probably be a solid number 2 on the spot if I knew much about it, but sadly we don't. The art style looks cool, appearing to be a cross between Wind Wakers and Skyward Swords, and there's going to be robots in a medieval style land. This is a world where you can shoot fireballs underwater. I'm just not going to question it. It's also supposed to have a huge overworld, so it'll be much less linear than Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword. Personally, I'd love to see a Zelda game where you can go into any dungeon you wanted in any order, and each dungeon would only require you to use the item you find inside that specific dungeon, rather than items you find in a different one. Of course, there'd be a dungeon at the end, and maybe a dungeon at the beginning, but other than that, you can do anything you want, kind of like the first game, but even then you needed certain items from dungeons in order to access different parts of the overworld, like the raft or the ladder. Knowing the Zelda fanbase, they'll be like, this game sucks, maybe Skyward Sword wasn't so bad after all, like they do with every 3D Zelda game, but that's just a given. Oh my god! If there's one series that people have wanted to be revived in recent years, it's Half-Life. If there's 2, then Star Fox is probably 2nd, or maybe 3rd, or whatever. Many of you may recall my top 15 games that need to be made list earlier this year, where I said that I wanted a Star Fox game for the Wii U. Well, only a few months later, one was announced. I'm not the biggest Star Fox fan on the planet, but I won't deny that Star Fox 64 is one of the greatest games on the Nintendo 64. However, most of the installments following the 64 seem to have disappointed Star Fox fans. which is probably why Nintendo hasn't made one in quite a while. Again, Star Fox 64 is a great game, but I didn't grow up with it or anything like so many other people. And it's still the only game in the series I've played, so that's why it's only number 2. Plus, how much info has been shared with us exactly? Well, next to nothing, at least by the time I'm writing the script. Oh, and I'd like to point out that I was right about the ability to aim with the gamepad. It's like I can predict the future. Or Nintendo watched my video. Yeah, the first one is more likely. It looks like it's about time to move on to number 1, but before we do, let's recap. Number 10, Mighty Number 9, number 9, Mario Maker, number 8, Ratchet & Clank 2015, number 7, Splatoon, number 6, Batman Arkham Knight, number 5, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, number 4, Star Wars Battlefront, number 3, Zelda Wii U, and number 2, Star Fox U. Yoshi's New Island is, hands down, one of my favorite 3DS titles. I haven't played the original Yoshi's Island on the Super Nintendo, but from what I gather, it looks like a game I'd like. Another great game was Kirby's Epic Yarn on the Wii, which I talked about in my last list actually. Now imagine if Nintendo took both of these games and combined them.
What you talking about, Willis?
I know the Yoshi's Woolly World is kind of an odd choice to have at number 1, but honestly, Halo 5 and Metal Gear Solid 5 2 or whatever it's called just don't interest me. Sure, they're popular, and they're probably good in their own right, but Yoshi's Woolly World seems like something those games probably won't be unique. I'm well aware that the Yoshi franchise has had just as many sequels as Halo, if not more. But this one seems to be so different from the other Yoshi's Island games, and I feel that the art style and gameplay of Woolly World really seem to match the feeling of the series. You feel like you're playing a Yoshi game, but a new kind of Yoshi game, if you know what I mean. Pay attention, this is how you make a sequel, people. I know I haven't played it yet, and I'm probably overhyping it, but just look at it, the worlds look so cool. Not just graphically, but they just look fun to explore. And besides, I think that a Yarn Yoshi game makes more sense than a Yarn Kirby game. Woolly World is actually a game that was announced in early 2013 or so the world had 2 Yoshi games to look forward to, although we didn't get any info on this game until E3 2014. But when they showed it off, it looked so cool. Star Fox U and Zelda U are being much more anxiously awaited by Nintendo fans, but we know very little about them. With this game, I'm pretty sure what the basic gameplay is going to be like. Honestly, you gotta give Nintendo credit. They know how to make a sequel. They're usually either a similar game to the first one, with some major improvements added to make it better, or they have completely different style of gameplay but still feel like they belong in their respective franchises. I wouldn't be surprised if this became one of the best games on the Wii U. Honestly, in 20 years, what's going to be remembered more? Another generic Halo sequel or a game like this? I mean, Halo 5 Guardians might be good, but I doubt it'll have much of an impact. There's only one more game that I'm excited for, though we don't know whether or not it's coming in 2015, so I can't include it on the list. That game is Shaq Fu 2.